4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to the Console Explosion podcast. We've got a full roster of people here. We're going to be catching up during the quarantine. We've got Jared here. We've got, I don't know who Futaba is.
That's
That's
Video
Tyler.
Game Hunter. That's actually the name of my computer I chose.
I like your background.
I named it after my favorite character from Persona 5.
It all makes sense now. That sounds very Tyler. Okay. We got the Historic Nerd. We've got Alex and we've got Gokado. So we got the whole roster.
Hello.
I think this is everyone that's really participated in most of the podcasts, save for one or two. And I'm the Philosopher. So hello, welcome. This is going to be fun. We're going to catch up. So who wants to take the reins and say like what they're doing first? Like who wants to be that person to jump in and talk about what's going on in their life during this whole quarantine?
I'll go. Put my hand up. Honestly, I thought Video Game Hunter's name was Futabi, and he was one of the Futabi brothers from Night at the Roxbury. That's what I thought it was when it popped up on the side there. And I thought, I remember him talking about that in one of the podcasts about the Futabi brothers, but, you know, whatever. Video game reference. But no, pretty much, you know what? It's great to see everyone again. It's great to see everybody in glorious HD. You know, I give the big middle finger to Google Hangouts because it never got this good.
That is true.
Minus my light, it's behind me, and I apologize. But new house, new everything. So this is a start. So again, it's great. And unfortunately, we're in some crappy times right now. We are in some crappy times with everything going on. So yeah, for me, I've been keeping sane by playing a lot of online games with a couple of my other compadres, 2 other Console Explosion members, 3 other Console Explosion members. I've been playing a lot of games. Hunt Showdown has been the game that I've been playing. Hunt
How is
Showdown.
I've heard good things.
It's a great game. It is probably the most underrated game of its time, I think, because the graphics are amazing, the story in the background's amazing, the gameplay is great, it's crisp, you know, minus a few of the cheaters, but you know what? Every online game has those, but it's a great premise. If you don't know what it is, it's a game where you're a bounty hunter with 2 other people, and you go into a map of, if you're in groups of 3, there'd be 4 teams of 3. If you're in groups of 2, you're in 6 groups of 2. There's always 12 players in the game no matter what. So you could be in as a single, as groups, or whatever the case is. There's always 12. And your goal is to find clues to find a bounty. Now, unfortunately, you're in the Louisiana Bayou. So you're back in the 1800s. You got 1800 guns. So the Winchester, the Colt, you know, really old school Western type guns, and you're going up against zombies and, you know, hellhounds and mutated pigs and all this type of stuff, and you have to kill these bounties and then escape. So there's a lot of different aspects to it. You can do the PvE, which is go in there, kill things, find the clues, and get out, or you can go after shooting other people because it's only one team wins, pretty much. It's not a battle royale because you can pretty much not see another team, do your own stuff, and then escape on your own without actually physically fighting anybody. But that's not the fun part of it. The fun part of it is going in, finding other people, and just getting into these gunfights that are just absolutely off the wall. I mean, I've played a lot of COD, Battlefield, PUBG. Nothing really compares to the intensity of Hunt Showdown. I've been playing, like I said, with a couple other Console Explosion members, Black Ace and Irish Spuds and Dr. Indiana Jones, those 3.
So what you're saying is you have not invited any of the ones that are here. Right?
No, because you guys
That's what
are all
I'm hearing.
busy.
That's exactly what I'm hearing. I was like,
You know what?
this really fun game we have here is amazing. But
you know what?
yeah, we're inviting
tried-
any of you guys.
You only
For one
contacted
thing-
me. You only contacted me for Uno, and I can never
Exactly.
get Uno right.
Yeah, see, I contact him for Uno, and he pisses me off so much that I'm like, I regret even asking him to play Uno with me. Alex is too busy playing his RPGs and whatnot. Tavian down over there is too busy playing fighters, and he's always grinding away on Street Fighter V. You, Mr. Antonio, Overwatch. Don't know how you're still playing that. That game.
Oh, by the way,
I
bought Uno, so I have it.
there you go. We can play Uno. And then Ian, he's drunk, so
Constantly.
Constantly.
Well, he has a kid now, so.
Well, I've had a kid for the last 2 years. But,
See, 2 years he's been drinking.
I've been
sure about that?
I've been an alcoholic a lot longer than that. I just keep it to myself better.
Good man.
I don't drink much, but we got to get the booze away from my little brother because apparently he got so drunk. I woke up one morning and
How old
found
is he?
out. Oh, he's about 26 or 27 now.
Oh, okay.
I woke up.
Oh, come on.
I woke up one morning, noticed my studio lights were knocked down. The legs were bent in weird ways. I have no clue how that happened. And some of my books fell down. I'm like, what the hell happened last night?
Clearly, your studio lights attacked him, and he was just.
Well,
it's the only reasonable explanation.
The good news is he paid me back, and I'm getting a new studio lights, and hopefully soon. I bought it like 2 weeks ago, but thanks to this quarantine situation, it's taking a lot longer than it should take.
So
No,
Hunt. That's what I've been playing.
All right.
Hunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go down the order of what I see here. So that would be Video Game Hunter. What have you been playing? What have you been doing?
I haven't really been playing much. I've been trying to come up or figure out a new series I should be doing or I want to do. Some have not been doing well, but for whatever odd reason, I went back to doing Let's Plays, and they've been doing pretty well. And seems like that's what people want. They don't want the friendly kind; they want the adult kind. I'm like, I can do that, but it takes so much editing I have to do. So that's what I've been doing recently.
You're saying that Let's Plays require a lot of editing?
Well, here's the thing is, it's not the graphic ones. Yeah, I played a game called TCX, and it's like the gayest game I ever played. There's a lot of homoerotic stuff in there, and I had to do so much censor in that game. Like it took me probably a week or so to make sure everything got censored.
Why are you censoring though?
Because I can't show testicles on YouTube.
Yeah, that's a no-no.
Oh.
I can't show testicles.
Even if you put like this is an 18 or older.
I do. It's 18 up. And here's the thing. I gotta be careful where I link. Where I should link to. See, I got this game from itch.io, so I guess that's okay. But I have another buddy who goes by. I forgot his YouTube name.
I feel like you might have more success on a different website that also has tube in its name.
Yeah, but there's another guy who's kind of doing the same thing now, doing the same thing too. But he ended up leaving a link to Nutaku, which is more of an adult site to buy these games, and YouTube told him to delete the link. Mm-hmm. So I gotta be extra careful what link what website I'm linking it to.
They're taking that stuff serious.
But currently the games I'm currently playing, obviously I'm going by the name Futaba at this fine moment, so it might give you a hint what I'm currently playing. I am now playing Persona 5 Royal.
Ah.
Someone just told me about that. I'm actually editing a podcast where my guest talks about that game. Like he gushes over that.
The game is fantastic. I like Persona 4. I was a bit worried about Persona 5 because you're a thief. I'm like, how would that work? But I spent hours and hours on these RPGs, like 130 hours, and that surprises me because I don't really play RPGs that long, mostly for 24. I don't think I ever put in 130 hours just for one RPG. But I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
I heard Persona 5 Royal puts in some really good quality of life improvements compared to the original version of Persona 5, where like your ammunition recharge, you recharge your ammunition inside for the guns in dungeons and a few other things.
Yeah, there's some things I don't like about Persona 5 Royal. I think is one of them is I think they kind of made the game a bit too easy now. They introduced this special enemy that sometimes you'll get this enemy that you can blow it up, and all the other enemies get heavy damage because it blew up. I think that kind of makes that game a bit too easy. And another thing they added was they put in a new special move that will pop up once in a while where you can just hit the what do you call that button on the PS4, the big square one, the motion pad.
Yeah,
Or whatever.
I think that's what it's called.
Well, you hit the motion pad and they do like you could say a 30-second cutscene of them doing damage. I'm like, this is kind of cool and all, but I think he's just making the game a bit too easy now.
Didn't you like the RPGs on the 90s? They were always about the big cutscenes every time they do some freaking.
Oh yeah, like Final Fantasy 7,
Yeah.
8, and 9. That I like those. I'm not gonna lie, but they didn't always those summoning creatures. They didn't really make the game all that too easy unless you got that legendary summon from Final Fantasy 7.
Knights of the Round.
The Lights of the Realm, which
I mean,
I
you
can't-
had to jump. I mean, you did jump through a ton of hoops to get that anyway.
yeah, but even so, Final Fantasy 7 is not that hard of a game, so it's really not necessary to get that summon unless you want bragging rights.
Yeah, that's more of a completionist sort of thing. From
Yeah.
from some of the side quests, like the Omegas and
Yeah.
the other monsters that I probably didn't get a chance to beat. I think it's more of a challenge.
That's what you need to grind. If you don't wanna, if you just wanna go through it and not do the Omegas and all that, you don't even need to grind at all.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing like the base of the game where you have like the main quest, maybe some side ones, but then you have like these a lot of off the beaten path type stuff that you can do. So I get it. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy, but I still think it's a pretty good Final Fantasy.
I spent too much time raising my Sokopa bow just to get the gold one.
Yeah, you.
All right, Ian, what about you?
Clearly just drinking. I mean, that's all. That's all I've been doing. No, actually, I find like my job. I got a position. I'm full time now at the National Guard, and so I'm constantly doing that all the time. I'm like the weird thing is I use my YouTube channel to weasel my way into media and content production for the Idaho Army National Guard. So I took over that entire shop out there. And then since I'm a chemical weapons officer as well, I've been stupid busy with all this shit because, viral stuff kind of falls into my job realm anyway, doing that. So I've been kind of just incredibly booked. So about the only time I really have to myself is like after 10 o'clock on Saturdays where I drink and play stream video games. And when I have time, I put together, I'm still working on videos, but I just really don't have the same amount of time I used to at the moment. So kind of working on one right now for the TurboGrafx. That's going to be like fucking an hour long.
Oh,
Nice.
like I say, one more thing. My job actually got easier now because we finally got employees that actually doing the job. So I might be streaming. I might be streaming more now.
Nice.
That's the good news on my end.
Yeah. No. Good. What about you, Alex? What's new with you?
Okay, so I have changed jobs somewhat. So I'm in a job that lets me work from home. It's help desk, medical adjacent. Not I work help desk for veterinary medical clinics. So they're still open because people's pets still get sick, and that sort of thing. And other than that, still streaming, still putting together lots of videos. I had a short break on my channel to do a big upgrade of my computer, and then back to streaming and such. I've just finished just the other day doing a stream, just beaten Sakura Wars So Long My Love. That's the only Sakura Wars game to get an official US release until the one that's coming out next week. Theoretically coming out next week, depending on how all this all shakes out. And the Nintendo Power Retrospective still ongoing. I've hit episode 100 of the Nintendo Power Retrospectives. We are coming up on the release of the N64, and so actually I have started getting some stuff set up to. I'm changing how I'm doing going to be doing gameplay capture for the N64 because I have an N64 and the Eon HDMI adapter for the N64, which means and I have a N64 EverDrive on order.
That's pretty much required nowadays, right? Because the N64 games, if you want to capture from the composite, it looks like shit.
Well, the best you can get is S-Video without modding the damn thing.
Well, and even S-Video looks like shit because actually, for the N64 in particular, I like better the composite because the S-Video will give you like on the shadows, they will be like the squares instead of like smoothen out of shadows. I don't know. It looks like shit to me.
I have a little converter box now that it takes S-Video and converts it directly to RGB, which I then run into my OSSC. Okay. And it looks pretty damn good.
Well, I have an N64 modder that does RGB, but that N64 is not doing well. I think it's breaking down now, which it always has before the mod, but I think.
What do you mean?
Well,
what's the problem?
I have to wiggle the back to get a signal.
That's very easy to fix.
Yeah, but I don't trust myself. And I forgot to tell the person that before he modded it, and
you just need to resolder that connector. That's all you need to do.
And the reset button's not working, and
all I'm saying is do not throw it away. It's a very easy fix.
Can I toss it?
Send it to Gokado.
Yeah, send it my way.
Fine, I will. Send me
what
address.
he's saying is you need to do an RGB connection to one of your heart valves. That way, Life for Deck connected to the N64.
But you know what system I'm really excited I got modded finally? My PC Duo.
Oh.
It's region free now. It's RGB.
Well, we cannot see it because you're running your background, right?
You let me go? Let me go grab it?
Well, I don't know. You just pointed somewhere. It's like, okay, are we supposed to see it?
You can hold it up while Gokado
right here in
in
Johnny Cage's rib cage. Just right in there.
What is going on?
There you go. Oh, wait, you can't see it, can you?
Put it in front of your chest. Hold it sideways in front of your chest. It just literally looks like a...
It's good. It's not... I need to dust it, but yeah, I love this thing.
Well,
nice.
You sure you don't use it?
I use it all the time, but it says I need to dust it more.
Well,
I freaking love that thing.
All right, Antonio,
use it all the time, yet it has dust. I sense a lie.
Speaking of TurboGrafx, they finally translated a Sailor Moon game. I gotta go and download it. Now I'm thinking about it.
That is very you.
Yes.
Antonio, what you got going on?
Well, I've been playing the remake for actually showing the background right now of the new Trials of Mana.
Oh my god, I want to play that.
I heard it has nice furry creatures in that game.
You know what? You're gonna love this game because of that. It's a very furry type of game, if you like that. And you have all these anime chicks there. So but besides that, actually, I would say it's probably one of the best remakes ever. Even taking into account like the new Resident Evils and even the new Link's Awakening as well. I mean, I've not played the newer Final Fantasy VII, but this one, it takes everything that had wrong with the original game and makes it like modern and better. Everything, every single thing.
I have played the new Final Fantasy VII, the Final Fantasy VII remake. It is interesting. It's not a heavy spoiler to say that it is more than just adapting and reinterpreting the story. I will say that. It sounds silly to say this, but like it's a Final Fantasy VII remake that you guys actually has things you can spoil, and not like the stuff that has been spoiled 20 years ago or what have you. Actually, it's like 30 years ago by now.
It's a remake that deviates a little bit from the story, from the original story.
Yep, but in interesting ways where it's like, I don't want to talk too much about this because it's something where it's worth, particularly if you've played the original game, you really want to experience this for yourself.
Now, question. Would you say that if you were to have the original and the remake, is it fair to say that you don't need to play the original or just play the remake and that's all you need to do? Or
that's a good
do they
question.
complement each other, or
they complement each other well. As far as for standing alone goes, like if you play on its own, I'm not super far into it yet.
right?
If you play it on its own, it's interesting. I think it would still be very interesting, but there's be certain stuff where it's like clearly doing a callback to stuff from the original game, or even playing with narrative from the original game, and it might not hit the same way that it would.
So is it better than the original?
That's a tough question.
So that's why I'm saying, at least from what I hear you say and from what I heard somewhere else as well and all that, I've played most of the remakes so far that we've had, at least on the new stuff, and this Trials of Mana game, so far it's like the best remake we've had so far.
I think it's a fair assessment. Is like I can't conclusively say like Trials of Mana. I haven't a chance to play it yet, but everything I've seen about it has definitely gotten from people, reviews I've seen and gameplay footage I've watched. It's definitely clear. It's like, this is, if you have played Trials of Mana before, if you haven't, this is a just better version of it. Partially because it's like Trials of Mana, like the original game was like a pretty early. I want to say that's 2, right?
There's a third one.
Okay. So as far as the Mana series, like that was on the SNES, not the
Yeah, it's very late release for the SNES that never came here to the States until recently.
Yeah. Like actually own a copy of that one for the SNES version. But it's definitely
is it the Japanese one or a repro?
It's the Japanese one. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I got the Retron 5 so I can play patched SNES games on it.
So we never got this in the US before?
No.
I played on Emmy time ago. I haven't come across it by happenstance. It's a great game.
Did it come? Yeah. Did it get re-released on the collection of Mana that came out?
That's when it came out.
Okay, because I'm like, I played that, and that's where I was confused. But no, okay.
That's when it came out.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But if I were to say, because I just finished the other one as well, and if you want to play this game, do not play the original. Play this one. The original has a lot of problems, in my opinion. I don't know why people consider some of the best RPGs in the SNES. I don't think so. I think
it's one of my favorites. I didn't play a lot of SNES RPGs, but I do like real-time action RPGs.
Right.
I think the combat system in this one really
for real-time RPGs, there aren't that many on the SNES.
Right.
But the ones that they are, of course, going to be one of the best for that in particular. But
plus it's co-op.
Well, yeah, that adds a little bit. But in my opinion, like the second one, The Secret of Mana, it's better in most cases. Not all of them, but in most cases, I find it better than the third one.
Wait, the second one called Secret of Mana?
Yep.
What was that?
So, yeah.
Oh, so we got that one though.
Yeah. So
yeah, the first Secret of Mana, which is the second Densetsu 2 in Japan.
So we never got the first one, but we got the second one.
So we did get the first one.
The first one was released on the Game Boy as Final Fantasy
Adventure. No, Final Fantasy Adventure.
Final Fantasy Adventure, that's
Adventure,
right.
Yeah.
All right. Legend was the Saga series, and Adventure was the Mana series.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to be a spin-off from Final Fantasy, but in Japan it was named Seiken Densetsu. So it wasn't really a spin-off. They just marketed like that here in the West.
Yep.
Because we're stupid out here.
Yeah. So, with that said, with this being one of the first games that actually has a remake better than the original, what do you think that means for the future of remakes?
Well, it's funny because if you look at the same guys, right, the same remake, we had the same remake from Secret of Mana last year, 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, like, took some steps forward, but like some step backwards as well. So it was not like in that case. I would say if you can play whichever, and that's okay. But I would say play the original better than the remake. But like in this case in particular, no, it's overwhelmingly better. The Not only is so much better that it's actually making the game one of the best action RPGs you can play right now, even being that old. So if you like action RPGs, Taven, this one is really good. And it not only is it good like an RPG, but for like a hack and slash as well. Mm-hmm. It's like a very responsive game. Like you can make combos and evade, and you can cancel your combos and evade, for instance, stuff like that. You normally don't see that on RPGs, right? Yeah. More of if it's a hack and slash, you see that, but here it's so refined that it's super fun to play that way.
Yeah, so I played the demo and I definitely enjoy this game. I'm looking forward to it. I actually like the game so much that I stopped playing the demo because I knew I wanted to buy it, and I was like, you know what, I just want to have the first experience. I understand that, like, I think your character can transfer over from the demo, but that's besides the point. Yes. What I'm trying to get at though is the future of the gaming industry, like game developers and publishers, because for the most part it's been like, let's re-release this game and at least make it as good as people remember, and make it look a lot better. But now we have a game where it's just definitively better. And what does that mean for other games coming out? Like, are there other old games that maybe it could use a new coat of paint? Because that's been a conversation for a long time where it's like, oh man, this game was good, but like could have been better in a different era. Yes. So like, do you see that happening with more?
I would agree, not in every case though, because like this, like as I said, to me, this game in the original state had a lot of problems, in my opinion, like a lot of problems that didn't make it so that it was a great game overall. Well, it was a very good game, bordering great, but for when it came out and what it was already available, it was not really
compared to the competition.
Right. Mm-hmm. But so that, to me, those are like the prime candidates of remake, right? I would say if you want to remake something like, I don't know, like Chrono Trigger, for instance, I would say, well, that game, it's you're gonna have a hard time trying to remake that, right? That's a masterpiece on its own. I don't know if you want to do that. I would say take the games that are very flawed, like this one, and try to remake those.
Yeah, so it depends on what games you pick. But if you take a diamond that could have been in the rough, and you give that a new fresh coat of paint and bring that out. But actually, I mean, it looks like they put love into this game. Like they tried to really pay homage to the original game while also building upon it.
Yes.
It feels like something that is like made with love.
Yeah, like in the remake of Secret of Mana that came a couple of years ago. Like that one, it took one of the most charming games in the Super Nintendo and made it not as charming, if you know what I mean. It didn't have that soul, it lost it on the remake. In this one takes that soul and elevates it super far away. So they did a fantastic job with this. I don't know how they fucked up the remake of Secret of Mana one so
they learned their lesson.
Yeah.
Man, well, I guess that leaves me. So I definitely, I'm cutting back a lot more on the games now because like when this whole thing first started, I'm on paid leave right now, I feel grateful for the position that I'm in, and it gives me time to like prepare for the future. But like, there's so many unknowns that like that is super stressful. But in terms of games, like I've been playing a lot. Like in terms of competitive games, of course, Street Fighter. There's other fighting games that I've started picking up again, like Dragon Ball Fighters, and then you have Blaze Blue Tag Battle, which is a pretty cool anime tag game. Those are most of the games that I'm playing in terms of fighting games. But I've been playing like Warhammer Vermintide. That game is like Left 4 Dead meets Destiny with a little bit of Diablo splashed in. I've been definitely enjoying that with a friend. It's co-op. It's 4-player co-op like Left 4 Dead. So I definitely have been enjoying that tremendously. I have PlayStation Now, which is like streaming service for it's almost like Netflix, and Amazing Spider-Man is on there. That just dropped, so I never played the Amazing Spider-Man. I knew it was good, but I don't really buy games a lot.
Are you talking about the PS4 exclusive Spider-Man?
Yes.
Or, okay.
It's so
For the
good.
PlayStation or the PlayStation 1 Amazing Spider-Man, because Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 1
Spider-Man
were
2
amazing.
was really good. Yeah, no, this is my favorite Spider-Man since that game. I've played most of the ones that have come out the bad and the good if it's on a console, and a few Spider-Man ones. I have the Game Gear one, as a matter of fact.
Can I ask a
Spider-Man
question?
2 on the
Can I have a
Xbox was
question?
fantastic.
The Spider-Man game. Do you recall any like heavy drug uses in that game? Like any of the villains, as part of the story, they had any heavy drug use?
Potentially like Doc Ock. I don't want to get. I mean, the game's pretty old now.
The reason I'm asking because I was at Best Buy around Christmas last year, and an old lady, I think it's a grandma, walked up to me like, "Hey, you look like you pretty into video games. Do you recall that Spider-Man has any drugs in there? Cause my grandson and mom OD'd on drugs, and I don't want anything that gives him like flashbacks or what happened back then." So
in
okay.
Silver Age Spider-Man comic book series, there was a bad guy who was powered by cocaine. His weakness was his addiction to cocaine.
That wasn't Spider-Man. That was a different series, but was Marvel. Are you talking about Snowflame?
I remember what it was. All I know is his superpower was cocaine.
No, because Snowflame. Because I remember this because I saw that episode of Atop the Fourth Wall where he reviewed this. Where Lynn Carr reviewed this comic.
I was going to say Harry Osborn in like the 60s had a drug addiction problem.
Yep.
Oh.
It was portrayed fairly well too. It was portrayed like sensitively and well thought out, and was done well enough that like they're trying to treat it with a very serious degree of sensitivity to like drug users and the issue in question, and not talk down to people. And like the comics code was like, no, you can't do this. You can't depict drug use in this light. And,
I heard about that actually.
Yeah, and Stan Lee's like, okay, then we'll publish it. Then we'll publish this issue without the stamp. And
shots fired.
Yep, and like basically they forced the comics code to blink on this one. That allowed DC to do a similar storyline with, I want to say it was Speedy, Green Arrow's sidekick, fighting a heroin addiction as well. That was during the Denny O'Neil Green Arrow run, I think.
The more you know.
What's the rating of the game though?
Team.
It's T. Yeah,
it's not gonna have any drug used, right?
Yeah,
but this is very light.
Yeah, it was a question. I was like, oh no, I have to answer a question. I played the game, I beat it, but I don't recall any drug use. I don't want to give a kid like a horrible flashback or anything.
Also, they put that stuff on the box now.
Yeah.
If it has drug use in it, it has to mention it on the ESRB.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm saying
she checked the case, but she was wondering how bad it was.
Oh, it said drug use on there. Yeah, I mean there's thugs and bad guys, so they probably. I mean they're selling. There's a villain that's selling drugs, I believe, but it's not like the main premise of what he's doing. So it's only very minor.
Yeah.
So there is mention of drug use or drug selling.
Oh, yes. What is that, Cass?
It doesn't say any drug use in this, but you have to be on drugs to play it.
There you go. But no, I think the Spider-Man game is amazing. Like they have some really
amazing Spider-Man.
Yes, it's very spectacular as well.
It's the ultimate.
The fun is unlimited in this game.
I think it's the superior Spider-Man game, to be honest.
Dude, there's so many cool skins in the game. Like I'm a huge fan of web swinging. Like that's one of the few games where you'll actually catch me on a regular basis playing the game and going wee. Like I don't do that. I think
that's why Spider-Man 2 was so good. Actually, it doesn't really hold up as much now, but I still like it. But the fact you can swing over the city, I get your.
Spider-Man 2 at the time when it came out, especially playing on Xbox, was just badass.
Hands down.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best Spider-Man game until this came out, in my opinion. Like there wasn't a better Spider-Man than that game. So I'm hoping they make another one. I'm hoping it's just as good because like all the side quests, they don't feel worthless, like you're just doing it because you're a completionist. It actually adds to your character. You can unlock new outfits, and it's like you get currency for the outfits and upgrades and stuff like that. So you're encouraged to do it. You don't have to do it, but it's really fun. And the suits make it so cool. There's some that I've never seen before that like I constantly wear. You can swap around the powers. It's so good. It's so good.
The backpack collection in the game is also really fun too. In terms of like there's actually like some significant character moments to that.
Yeah, you can actually listen to the dialogue and him talking about these items, like his school ID or whatever is in the backpack that you find. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
I hope the next game we can play as Miles. I really enjoy that.
Oh yeah, he's in the game as well. Without giving too many spoilers away.
Yeah, I know, but he's not that fun. So hopefully in the next one, he's
I hope
playable and he's fun.
I agree. I do hope they do that. But I've been cutting back on the games because I've actually been working on doing online tournaments. That's been my main jam right now. Like I've been working with the fighting game tournaments.
I thought you said you were cutting back on games. How's that count?
I'm cutting back on playing them, not running them. Because I used to run tournaments every Thursday at my locals, but obviously you can't go to bars or anywhere else right now. So I decided to host online tournaments so people can keep playing and competing and stuff like that. So I've done it 7 weeks in a row now, and I'm actually commentating for another guy, and then looking at doing like Rocket League and a few other games in the future. Because that's what I was doing for my job for the last year anyway, was doing tournaments at an arena. So I'm like, I want to keep developing my skills. Broadcasting and production is really fun to do. I find I like live production maybe more than making YouTube videos, which is surprising for me. But yeah, I want to keep doing that, and then hopefully that could become some sort of generate some sort of income for me and my family. So that would be really cool if I can get players paid for winning tournaments, also make a little bit of money on the side while doing it and like making it better and better each time. So that's where I've been most of the time. Other than I'm a stay-at-home dad from 9 to 5. So 9 to 5, I'm taking care of my son, Link. That's been a whole like crazy experience being a dad and seeing a kid grow as a toddler.
Naming him Link, that's probably the best part.
Who named the kid?
So the idea was a friend of my fiance's. She said you should name him Lincoln. That way he has a very normal name, but if he like is a nerd, he can go by Link as well. So I was like, I love that. I love that very much.
Okay.
That is,
of course,
that is
he has a Link onesie. Huh?
Like, that's well thought out, as opposed to like the Kevin Smith, where like he named his son, he gives him the middle name of crime fighter. So that way, like he got named his kid the geeky middle name, the geeky name, but a normal first name. So that way, the public refer to the first name, and then you've got the geeky middle name for when they really, really mess up, and you got to bust out the full name.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to name my son Bruno. In Spanish, Batman, his name is Bruno Diaz. My last name is Diaz as well. So he would have been Bruce Wayne in Spanish, right? Bruno Diaz.
I think I'd be really worried about his parents if you named him that way, though.
Yeah, no doubt.
So my wife was not very happy about that, so that's why.
I see why.
Yeah.
Maybe don't take him to. If you named it that, you then could never take him to a movie theater.
To an opera.
A Zorro movie.
Yeah. Don't wear pearls.
No, you take those off. We're not going out in those.
No matinee. Matinees only.
Well,
not allowed after dark.
Who wants to get old anyways? So
Speaking of Batman stuff, actually, it's a good segue. So one of the new product things I've started, or also think I want to talk about things we've been reading and watching as well. I've started. I have a DC Universe subscription, and the thing that got me into that, less so than the streaming content, although it's nice to have that, like Batman the Animated Series and all that stuff, is it's got DC's equivalent of Marvel Digital Unlimited, of like all the archive. So I decided started doing a video project where I'm going to read through and review all of the Nightfall saga from the 90s. You know, the thing that introduced Bane. And all of that.
Like where is like a spine broken and all that?
Yep, that's where his spine broken. We get Azrael. We get all that fun stuff. I've just recently finished with like all the lead-in bits where like introducing Tim Drake, introducing Venom, the Venom drug, and Azrael, the character. And then next up is going to be be the Vengeance of Bane issue, and all that fun stuff. So it is fun rereading this and revisiting this, because it's one of those things where it's like I'd read like the novelizations of it and listened to the radio play and that sort of thing, but never actually read all of these issues. And it's a lot of this, like, there are ways in which this is a very 90s comic in some of the worst respects, but there's also some really great writing here, and there's some really good writing teams on this. I mean, by this point, Denny O'Neil, who's one of the big contributors of it, had been writing Batman since the 1970s. So it's like peak Claremont X-Men kind of thing for the storyline. Plus you have there's so many good people on this. Alan Grant, those sorts of various writers on this. It's a really, really good storyline. So far, I'm really looking forward to getting all the way to getting through this. And it's been fun to do videos of, because like just when I was doing my Star Wars project, which I've taken a short break of, the videos I enjoyed doing the most were the comic reviews, even more than like the novels and stuff. From not just in terms of putting together the actual comic standpoint, but also with doing the like talking about the narrative and that sort of thing, and finding the right art to encapsulate certain beats of the story and that sort of stuff.
Very nice.
So I have one thing I want to put in really quick. What's the name of the corporation of Final Fantasy VII that's sucking the life out of the planet? Shinra. Speaking as a representative of Shinra, there is no conclusive evidence that our machines are sucking the life force out of the planet. Just want to put that out. I'm sorry. I don't want to try and spin that as a. We're gonna need. Your feelings don't trump our facts. I mean, these factories provide jobs and power for the planet. I mean, just get out of here, hippies. Jesus.
At least you're not Lysol trying to tell people not to ingest them.
Got your bleached chewables ready, I
hope. Well, speaking of a dark future, I've been looking at this theory, like mainly for fun, not so much for realism, but I feel like we're getting so much closer and closer to the concept of the book of Ready Player One. Like, has anyone read or listened to the audiobook?
Oh yeah,
I read it. Yeah.
I listened to the audiobook a while back when I was in college. The audiobook is all right. I think I enjoyed it more because I was getting it in audiobook form.
Will Wheaton.
Yep, yes, indeed. Like being read by Will, like it's one of those books where it is improved by the reader. Some audiobooks where it's where the reader, where either they're dry or the characters just don't quite click or something like that when you just read it on the page, but then having a good reader can add a bunch extra to the book.
Yeah. So
can I ask a quick question? Sorry, about audiobooks, because I only have one audiobook, and I don't know if this is how all of them are, but my audiobook is Aliens River, and it takes place after Aliens 2, a story in between Aliens 2 and Aliens 3, where the Sulaco goes to another island, or another planet. Anyways, besides the point, they hired actors.
They're not all like that.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, because they hired actors to play the roles of Sigourney Weaver, Lance Henry, and these are voice actors that sound damn good like them, and they read it as if it's a movie. They have sound effects, music, the whole 9 yards in this.
That would be called.
Yeah, So, some audiobooks do this differently than others. I have an Audible subscription, and I've got most of the William Shakespeare's Star Wars audiobook. So this is the stories of the first 3 Star Wars movies, put in iambic pentameter and done in a sort of Shakespearean style. And these were done as a full cast, for lack of a better term, audio drama or radio audio play, with actors playing the various roles and that sort of thing. Most audiobooks aren't like that. Better one comparison would be like the audiobooks, to go with the Star Wars stuff, of the original Thrawn trilogy, where it's one reader, Mark Thompson. Some of them do have sound effects and music. The Star Wars ones tend to all have sound effects and music. And the reader will read the book and will generally do the voices and that sort of thing. Mark Thompson does spot-on voices for everyone in Star Wars. I mean, he nails Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Billy D. Williams,
Give me back my family.
Carrie Fisher. He does a good Carrie Fisher. It's like if you're going to get 3 audiobooks, if you're only ever going to buy 3 audiobooks, get the audiobooks of the Thrawn trilogy. They are worth it, 100%.
So to answer your question, no, your expectations are set really high right now.
Yeah.
Damn it! I was hoping because I'm like, these are amazing.
Yeah, no,
I
no.
listened to it. I was like, this is great. But okay.
But speaking of Ready Player One, here's my headset.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. So this gets into my point though. Like, so I have to preface this with I don't like Fortnite. But has anyone like in the loop on the whole Fortnite concert thing?
Yeah,
I don't
that's the
know
second
anything
concert.
about Fortnite.
That's the second concert they've done, and
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
So 2 things. One, Ready Player One takes place in a dystopian future where everyone's basically depressed and like is addicted to video games. Like that's the drug of choice in that new era.
I gotta disagree there with you.
What?
I don't think that at least on the book, on the movie, yes, that's how it's portrayed. But in the book, it's mostly because out of necessity. What happened was that there was a economic collapse, right?
Oh,
So,
everything that you do is
economic
done
and
through
ecological.
VR.
Well, yeah, but essentially in the book, it's an economic and ecological collapse where like large swaths of North America are literally just bandit territory,
right.
and people live in just fortified cities. And so, like Cincinnati, Ohio, happens to be the hub and central area for the Oasis because it has like the best internet connections. And but like, pretty much like you have to get on armored buses to travel between cities was the way they described it in the book.
I thought you guys
Yeah.
were talking about a boat,
Everyone
not really the
does
United
do their
States.
jobs. Huh? Yeah, but everyone does their jobs through the Oasis as well.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is
right.
like
Right,
concept.
but it's not in the book. It's really not a gaming thing. It's
It's
mostly
like-
because they need it. It's out of necessity, right?
It's
For
right.
them to be able to go to school, to do banking, all that. It's cheaper,
Everything is run through the Oasis. Yeah.
right? Which is something that pissed me off out of the movie, right? The movie was portrayed as like, oh, this is just gaming stuff. Like, what? Dude, come on.
I
It
didn't
would
like
have
the
been
movie.
much interesting if you portrayed it like the book, right?
I was very disappointed in the movie. Yeah.
The movie was like, no.
Yeah,
I didn't know what you'd expect from the movie though. I mean, like they literally, if like adapting a book like that to a film, they'd have to dumb it down and make it more palatable.
Modern.
So like palatable to the dumbest person going to the theater. It's the only way to really.
Yeah,
do it.
I don't blame them for it. It just, it wasn't for me. Is the way I look at it. I had low expectations. I say I was disappointed, but it more so met my expectations. Sadly,
I was just pissed they cut out the joust sequence. I was pissed about.
Why cut it out? Oh my goodness.
They did the race where no one decided to go backwards for 5 years.
Right.
I didn't like the whole entire thing.
And that's the stupidest thing, like, you know, in that, like, I believe we've had this exact conversation in another podcast. Make sure you check the links below because you'll hear our player one review
think you're right.
of this
Holy
movie.
crap.
Yeah, where we play video games all the time. What do? We troll by going backwards trying to hit other people. I'm pretty sure we've all done it in Mario Kart,
It's mostly
right?
because I screw up. I hit the wrong button.
No, so my point though is that